Bro, doesn't this guy claim to be a Christian? What does God think of just lying to people's faces like this, you fucking degenerate? You've literally set her up to be doubtful of whether it's political or not. Dude, this guy is such a scum fuck, bro. Only happens to us, though, doesn't it? Only happens to us. No? The shameless exploitation of Charlie Kirk's death is just so crazy, man. Steven Crowder's getting therapized at his Change My Mind event. Any conversation with Steven Crowder and a woman is like 2 seconds away from becoming violent at any given point. So, guys, Steven Crowder is back with Change My Mind again. He hasn't done one of these in ages. But something kind of interesting happened when Charlie Kirk died. Everyone seemed to think that because Charlie Kirk went around debating people at college campuses, that he was the Change My Mind guy. And you had, like, people saying, like, basically having, like, almost Mandela effect. Like, oh, everyone knows Charlie Kirk from the Change My Mind meme. And then Trump saying, like, what did Trump say? He said, all those years ago when he set up on college campuses with a table, they just said, so one simple phrase, change my mind. Like, Trump said that at, like, I think it was a memorial or something. So everyone started attributing change my mind to Charlie Kirk. Now, Steven Crowder, obviously being a well-known closeted homosexual narcissist, like, this is, like, the most, this would, like, obviously upset this guy like nothing else, I feel like. And I think that's been proven true by the fact that he's decided to come back and do it. Because he didn't do it for so long. And then he comes back. And it's like he's reasserting himself. Like, he's literally doing the... Like, he's, like, reasserting himself, you know? He's, like, trying to remind people, no, that was me. No, that was me. Except he's, like, 100 pounds fatter now. Like, look at his bloated fucking arm. But yeah, like, he's like, no, look, it was me. I'm the Change My Mind guy. No, that's me. So that's kind of funny to me. That is just kind of funny.
Hey YouTube, what you're about to watch is a new segment we call Change My Mind.
The whole point of having a government is to trust the government to protect you.
No. Would you like to have a discussion, or would you like to interrupt and be contentious? I'm trying to listen.
That is an act of violence to intentionally misgender someone. Yes.
Here we come to the issue. This is something that matters to me, and perhaps not to you, and then that's okay. We can disagree.
And I hope you get the hell off our campus.
People want that to be illegal? It's just someone's opinion.
You can look at Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Well, there are horrible actions that were committed.
Yeah, I feel the same way about those holidays.
Why do you believe in abolishing the police? How would that help Black Americans?
Oh, there's a lot of things. You can start investing in different organizations in mental health.
I think it somewhat changed your mind by accident.
Yeah, by accident.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Feel free to, make your case and change my mind. Even though we disagree, you can sit down, express your point of view, and some people on the left view that in and of itself as adding fuel to the fire. Or can people feel free to sit down and actually discuss their positions?
But dude, it just is so transparent that he felt like written out of history. He felt overlooked, and so he has to bring this back. He had to bring this back.
The reason we're here, and I don't think you would argue that this is unnecessary, the assassination in cold blood is an act of terrorism of Charlie Kirk. Is that political violence? You seem so confident on the Hortmans, but not Charlie Kirk.
I was just thinking about your question.
If that doesn't constitute political violence that could be answered in the affirmative immediately, of course, what would? Hey YouTube, what you're about to watch is a new segment we call Change My Mind. Welcome back to Change My Mind. It's been a while. This is the place where we rationalize, we reason our positions on controversial topics. When I created Change My Mind in 2017, I had one goal in mind, and that was to shine a light on the institutions that had failed Americans. Often students propagandized by the educational system, as well as legacy media.
Mr. Trump's once again defending comments he made about the white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
There were very fine people
on both sides.
The president's statement that both sides are responsible for the violence in Charlottesville.
It was designed to bring genuine dialogue to what had become an impenetrable echo chamber dominated by progressive professors, administrators, student leadership, along with a complicit media and big tech establishment. To put it simply, the kind of dialogue that evaded all of cable news.
I know you said that. 150 police officers got hurt.
You said I was being hyperbolic. Let me respond. I'm not. You being a white man as an insult?
That just shows you the ridiculousness of all of this.
And so, nearly a decade later, with billions of plays, countless discussions, inspired student iterations, one meme of the year, and yes, even a few changed minds later,
I somewhat changed your mind.
Changed my mind.
Oh my God!
Far bigger.
Get into it already.
Today's subject is plain and simple. The left is violent. Will anybody be able to change my mind?
Thank you, Christina, for sitting down.
One more time.
Stephen.
Yes. Okay.
So I'll take that. I mean, you're not maybe super familiar with what we do with these this series. Let me just kind of clarify what it is. First, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not gotcha. It's not clickbait. This is not meant to be, or it won't be used to clip into some kind of a dunk or something to just foment people.
It was literally used for that in the intro. You literally did do that. Bro, doesn't this guy claim to be a Christian? What does God think of just lying to people's faces like this, you fucking degenerate?
Espousing the same rhetoric on one side. It will be uploaded contextually in its entirety, where hopefully we have a productive discussion. Yes. We rationalize our positions, reason them on controversial topics. Before I get to the premise of today, could you do me a favor just so we can find some common ground? Yeah. This is what's being cited right now.
Eternity of
just the
Satan's
definition
sodomy
of political
session
violence.
for culture war grifters and their crimes against humanity. That's what I'm pushing for.
Make sure we both agree on it.
Political violence are criminal complaints, indictments, and court records looking for crimes.
Stephen Crowder would be like, don't threaten me with a good time with a liberist.
To outside audience.
And I'll summarize it. That's the technical description from the source cited. Yeah. It's violence as a tool being used toward a political end. In other words, just because you vote Democrat or because you vote Republican, if you accidentally hit someone with your car and commit manslaughter, that's not political violence. If you vote Democrat, but let's say you go out and run someone over because of their politics, that would be political. Do we agree on that?
Oh, wait, yeah, he did come out as bi, didn't he? He did say he was bi. Wait, but no, he said he suppresses it by being Christian. He said there's the bisexual demon that comes out. He said he struggles with bisexuality and that he has to keep it away by being religious. Yeah, he is a gay man. Yeah, he is like literally confirmed gay man.
I think I can agree with you on that.
Okay,
yes.
Good. So the premise today is that particularly today in 2025, by and large, the political violence is coming.
It's like, you can also tell, you can tell from vibe, and you can tell by how he spoke to his pregnant wife as well. From
the left, it's not proportionate 100%. With that on the right. That's the reason for the security that you see today that's very necessary. And it's a problem that's reaching a boiling point that may not be sustainable. If you disagree with me, you're welcome to change my mind.
I don't know if I can change your mind, because here's the thing. When I see this sign that says the left is violent, and you talked about how it's not proportional, and I would love to see your statistics about that, because we could make the same statement about the right very easily, right? Like we could say that was it just a month or two ago that the Democratic lawmakers were shot, and that was like, all right. I think our bigger problem is that the
talk about the Hortmans in Minnesota, right?
Right, yeah, because she was a senator and her husband was also killed, and that was done by the right, whatever. But
it wasn't. But continue.
Oh, that wasn't a It wasn't a conservative or.
No, that's why I used the example that I did. The person, Vance Bolter, who committed it, specifically said it had nothing to do with politics, and he left a letter reasoning it, saying that Tim Walz had ordered him to carry a hit out on people. So,
speaking of gay conservatives, this is very funny. I'm not going to play this whole clip, but...
Yes, we are under attack.
TX Himmler sent $20. I still can't believe you liked La La Land. I hate Emma Stone's vocal fry raspy ass voice so much that I couldn't concentrate on the storyline the first time. I rewatched it recently and the ending gutted me. What other movie genres do you like?
Let's just not crash out. Well, I love musicals. I like the good musicals, okay? I like them. Oh, yeah. I'm never beating the allegations. I know. He likes musicals and he hates the South. He's gay. Yeah. Well, okay, what else is new? Look, I like Yankee Doodle Dandy. I like An American in Paris. I like La La Land. I like The Wizard of Oz. Look, if you like movies, you like musicals, okay? If you like movies, you like that genre because it's visuals, it's music, it's big set pieces. I don't need to defend myself. They're good. La La Land is a great movie. La La Land is a celebration of Los Angeles and American culture. So I love it. I love Ryan Gosling. I love Emma Stone. I love the songs. And I love La La Land, okay? If liking La La Land is a crime, then lock me away. But if not, then the show must go on. You know what?
Okay. That's enough of that. You get the point.
He was very clear that it wasn't in the name of politics. That's someone who happened to be, on some issues, Republican, on some issues, Democrat. And he was appointed by a Tim Walz administration. So that was not done in the name of political violence. He said Tim Walz ordered him to...
If you don't like La La Land, you're the gay one, okay? Yeah, you're the gay one. It's a good movie. Arrest me. Take me away. Fine. I don't care. But I like La La Land. I love prison movies. Prison movies are some of my...
Yeah. I saw someone reply that they said, you just know he was thinking... He was so close to saying, if liking La La Land makes you gay, then I don't want to be straight. It's like right on the tip of his tongue.
Assassinate somebody who was out of his mind. But I'd like you to continue with the example.
Sure. And let's say, okay, so he wasn't right. That's fine.
No, it wasn't political violence.
It wasn't political. Oh, it didn't count as political violence.
Based on the definition you agreed to, right?
Yeah.
So wait, let's run this back.
Political violence. He said Tim Walz ordered him to assassinate. That was very clear that it wasn't in the name of politics. That's someone who happened to be, on some issues, Republican, on some issues, Democrat. And he was appointed by a Tim Walz administration. So that was not done in the name of...
So this is just like totally retarded. Because if you actually look into this case, this guy was appointed by or hired by like a Tim Walz appointee. But in his car, he was like a veteran or something, and in his car he had a list of like a bunch of targets that were like a bunch of Democrats and pro-life people and not pro-life but pro-choice people and abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood, like all this shit. Those were his targets, and he claimed Tim Walz was telling him to do it. It's like, well, we can probably figure out a motivation here.
Political violence. He said Tim Walz ordered him to assassinate somebody who was out of his mind. But I'd like you to continue with the example.
Sure. And let's say, okay, so he wasn't right. That's fine.
No, it wasn't political violence.
It wasn't political. Oh, it didn't count as political violence.
Based on the definition you agreed to, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is there's so many things happening. It's actually really hard to get all the facts about everything.
Sure.
And our media is when they make these statements or they start to postulate about an event, and it will become political before we've even fully fleshed everything out, like...
Could you give me an example?
Well, like, the shooting that happened at the church yesterday, I haven't seen enough... I don't know, have you seen any media on it yet? I'm curious to know what the media is saying
quite a bit
about it. And I want to know how are they characterizing it?
Yeah, the media isn't characterizing, even, I will say this, even on the left and the right, they're not really characterizing that as political violence.
Okay.
Because it was a guy who really seemed to harbor ill will toward the Mormon church. So it's pretty hard to categorize it as political violence when the targets were largely conservative and the man who carried out the action seems like he might be a Republican. But I think we could pick a more clear example, a multitude of them. The reason we're here, and I don't think you would argue that this is unnecessary, the assassination in cold blood as an act of terrorism of Charlie Kirk. Is that political violence? You seem so confident on the Hortmans, but not Charlie Kirk.
I was just thinking about your question. Probably because he was Turning Point USA is a conservative organization, right? That's meant to try and rally young conservatives and be involved. And So yeah, I would probably agree that his death was political, or his murder, assassination was politically violent. But I guess I just have a hard time reconciling that with, you know, we can say that the senator and her husband being killed wasn't political, but
I'll tell you exactly why.
You know?
I'll tell you exactly why.
So literally, so he tried, but what? Really? You're taking so long to answer that question? It's like, yeah, you've just like said that something else that is like obviously political wasn't political, and now you're expecting her to immediately jump to saying that something that it does seem to be political is political, but you've just set her up to be hesitant. It's like so fucking lame and transparent, and they clips it to fuck for the intro, despite having said to her face, "I'm not gonna use it for any gotchas or anything." Literally lying, fucking disgusting piece of shit. This is the sort of immoral behavior you learn when you just don't accept yourself, you know? A gay man living the life that Steven Crowder lives, he's going to learn a lot of maladaptive, deceptive, manipulative behaviors. And it comes out very clearly.
Because the express motive of the terrorist who assassinated Charlie Kirk was politics. He killed him because he said he's one of those hateful conservative right-wingers. The rhetoric that he espoused, the reason that he killed Charlie Kirk, was to take out someone of his political persuasion and make others of his political persuasion afraid to express their opinions. The man who assassinated, which I roundly condemn, Vance Bolter, the Hortmans, did not do it as a means to a political end. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he is not an elected official, solely because of his political perspective as a method to instill terror in the populace.
Yeah.
How do I know? Because a person said it was political violence.
Okay, what if we just don't even have enough information, though? Like, what if it is politically motivated and we just don't have enough to know about it yet?
In that case, we do.
You know, well, not in this particular instance, but I just mean, like, with the Hortmans you mentioned.
Okay, well, let's separate the gray area.
Okay.
Right, that's why I kind of start with the example. Just because you, I would assume, let's say, vote Democrat or Republican, just because you commit a crime doesn't make it political violence. I mean, if we did that, we'd have 90% of the crime being committed on behalf of the Democrat Party because most people in inner cities vote Democrat. I don't consider that to be political violence. People have political beliefs. People commit violence. Sometimes they rob a store because they want money. People who commit political violence do so specifically to instill fear in political opposition. They specifically commit violence as a means to a political end.
Okay.
And when we categorize it that way, it's overwhelmingly coming from the left. We do have the sources here that we make this available.
What?
So you can take the QR code. So what would make you, because you seem very confident that the Hortmans was political violence, and then it's nuanced with Charlie Kirk. Why?
Oh, I didn't say it was nuanced at all with Charlie Kirk. I agreed with you after considering your question that it was a political.
If that doesn't.
Yeah, she wasn't having a hard time with it because it was like so nuanced. It's because you said the other one wasn't political, and then you asked whether this one was political. You've literally set her up to be doubtful of whether it's political or not. Dude, this guy is such a scum fuck, bro.
Constitute political violence that could be answered in the affirmative immediately. Of course, what would? Like, what would be required to say, oh, this is clearly an act of political violence or political terrorism? If not Charlie Kirk.
I agreed that it was political violence, so I'm not sure where this question is coming from.
Well, I'm saying because you came in and pointed to an example that would be in the gray area, the Hortmans, and took a long time to agree with that premise of Charlie Kirk. And so what if we don't know enough information? So Charlie Kirk would be very clear left-wing political violence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Great.
Yes.
So there are more examples of that coming from the left than the right. That's the premise, yes.
Okay. So you're saying clear examples of political violence. I hear you using clear
violence carried out as a means to a political end.
So there's clear information, data that shows us that the left is violent or is more violent than the right.
Yes. Not only in crime statistics.
Dude, he's sitting here. He's like on edge. He wants to just start screaming at. He literally can't go 5 minutes without screaming at a woman. Because he's just like a raging fucking closeted homosexual. He literally he's got a woman in front of him and he's literally just tensing to start screaming at her. She's asking questions. She's trying to figure out like, okay, well, what are you like saying to me? What are you, like how do you classify these? I don't have like strong positions. She's just like asking questions, trying to figure out. And he's just like, so what? How come you would say that one's so nuanced? She didn't say it was like super nuanced. She was just thinking about the question because you'd already set her up to be doubtful. It's like so fucking weird. The guy is such a fucking loser.
But also in the polling after Charlie Kirk's death. Now, I believe that you're discussing this in good faith, and I would assume that you roundly condemn political violence of all stripes.
Of course.
So do I. Just to be clear, I think we both are. That's why we're sitting at a table having a conversation.
Right, right.
Do you identify as more liberal or conservative?
I like to think I'm moderate because I hold some conservative views and some liberal views. Okay. And I wish we could have a little bit more moderation in our country.
Like sitting down and having discussion.
So he's assumed she's like a massive fucking liberal, and he's like on her fucking throat, and she's like, yeah, I'm kind of like a centrist. Like, dude.
Discussions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like things like this.
Because we get killed for it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And only the right. Only the right gets killed for this anyway.
You're seeing what do we do? Only happens to us, though, doesn't it? Only happens to us. No?
Like sitting down and having discussions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like things like this.
Because we get killed for it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And only the right. Only the right gets killed for this anyway. You're seeing the one that got through. The reason I stopped doing this for years. Is
and now he's launching into like the reason I stopped doing this, changed my mind. Because it's just so dangerous. It's just so dangerous out here at these college campuses, man. It's just so tough. My life's on the threat all the time. Really? Dude, what are we doing?
Because every single time out was a violent attack. Sometimes it was a rock. Sometimes it was a milkshake, could be concrete, acid, chocolate, vanilla, I don't know. Doxing.
Okay, it was milkshake every time though, wasn't it?
Fire bombings, Molotov cocktails. Maya Angelou spoke at SMU only a few years before my first time here, didn't need this kind of security. And you can see it if you observe your speakers here. And I'll tell you why that is. If you look at the polls post-assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you label yourself as a moderate, those who identify as liberal support political violence at a ratio of 6-1 to conservatives. The YouGov poll said, is political violence acceptable?
Yeah, but what are the stats on actually carrying it out, Crowder?
77% of conservatives said not at all. Only 38% of those on the left said not at all. 62% of those on the left said somewhat to completely acceptable. We see the same stats after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. We see the same stats after the firebombing.
But nobody believes that no political violence is ever acceptable. Obviously, there's a certain point where if there was like a huge authoritarian takeover and you were losing your democracy at some point, you would have to take up arms to save your country. Everyone agrees that that is an ultimate conclusion that could potentially, in a hypothetical world, happen. So the idea, so it's like totally redundant, that poll. It's about how often they carry it out. Because all that poll proves is that liberals are able to entertain hypotheticals and conservatives aren't. That's all you're showing with that poll.
The Tesla dealership. And we see the same stats on the opposite side. Those on the right roundly condemning political violence. The lowest you'll find is 72. You usually find it in the high 80s. You will not find a number that breaks half on the left.
Okay, you mentioned Donald Trump. Can we jump to that for just a minute?
Donald Trump, sure. I assumed we would.
Well, because I thought that guy was a registered Republican, and then he donated the guy who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. I'm sorry, I'm really terrible at names.
Oh, Crooks.
Yeah, that he was a registered Republican. So would you consider him a act of violence on the left or on the right?
I would consider the attempted assassination of a presidential nominee political violence, yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, there are a lot of people on the right who don't like Donald Trump.
Yes, I do know a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Political violence isn't just Republican, Democrat. That's why I say left versus right.
Okay.
Those on the right are more routinely targets, and it's very blatant. People can say he was a registered Republican. That doesn't change the fact that it was an act of political violence carried out against Donald Trump, who's a conservative.
Yes.
Politician, whatever term you want to use.
Well, I guess, but if the argument is the left is violent, and I'm just thinking about this guy's, political background from the person. I hear what you're saying, that the right is targeted more often.
Yeah, we're the victims of political violence.
Yeah. The premise isn't right wingers are the biggest victims. The premise is the left is violent. So if it's right wingers killing right wingers, you can't say the left is violent because of that.
So would you classify that specific incident as violence of the right or of the left?
Well, the target is the right. The target was Donald Trump. So the net result is the same. We are often the targets of violence.
Yeah, but the left,
including someone who may be a moderate Republican. Yeah, the left is still overwhelmingly violent. And I point to those polls that you can peruse from YouGov, from Reuters, not bastions of conservatism.
So again, it's like there's a reason why he's pointing towards this polling about, do you think political violence is ever justified? Because if you point to the actual stats on killings, the actual stats on attacks, he would look fucking retarded. Because overwhelmingly, right-wingers are more violent.
The rhetoric since then. Here's the one thing that you can't point me to. And we can go through the stats. And I know you've probably heard from those on the left that actually there's more right-wing political violence. They're often circulating that right now. I can disabuse you of that notion
Dude, there's no way he's going to do the fucking retarded stat filtering.
You still can't point me to
He's
an
literally
example
going to do it live.
that is comparable on the right.
Thank you for the $6.99.
Someone who was not an elected official, a public figure who was really notable for nothing more than expressing his opinion and having conversations, who was assassinated in cold blood and then gleefully celebrated thereafter from the left. And I hope that as someone who's moderate, you understand why that's so concerning to us on the right. When we host vigils and memorials, and the left is so completely fearless of their own consequences that they kill one of ours and show up to the memorials and vigils and desecrate and vandalize. That is the information that creates the powder keg.
Yeah, yeah.
The only off-ramp would have been, hey, we kept saying that people like Charlie Kirk, by the way, he was much more moderate than I am. I am Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun compared to Charlie Kirk, but I will have conversations with anyone. I just want to be very clear. So I know that plenty of people would gleefully celebrate my death, my murder, for doing this exact same thing. The only off-ramp would have been the left saying, look, we've called Donald Trump and his voters and Charlie Kirk and Steven Crowder and whoever on the right, Tucker Carlson, take your pick.
Dude, literally, he has to put his own fucking name in there. This guy is the just like gayest narcissist in the world.
Sargon of Akkad, everyone. Ben Shapiro, we've called them fascists, we've called them Nazis. We've said that they want to commit a genocide because they don't want to transition children. We've called them racist because they support the police in an era of defund the police. And my God, people out there actually believe it. It's incumbent upon us to tone this down and say, you know what? They're not fascist. We made these people believe that this guy would never relinquish the reins of power.
Shapiro likes musicals too. I know Shapiro likes musicals.
Okay, Daniel writes, Dear Ben, as I'm learning about ethics, I'd like to get your input on where you stand. Would you steal a piece of bread to feed your family? Would you steal a piece of bread to feed your family? Why or why not? Well, Daniel, I can really only think of one way to answer this, and it's in musical form, so I think we're going to have to do that. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show.
So awesome, man. So awesome. Why is Ben Shapiro not still like that?
Deal with fascists. You can't do it at a ballot box. If I believed that there was an actual government right now that was executing blacks, as the left has said about the police force, if I believed that there was a leftist government that was actually fascist, that would jail any and all political dissidents, if I believed that the left was committing a genocide against white conservative Christian men, and if I believed that that administration would never host a democratic election again, I'd be out in the streets with a gun. You have a huge portion of Democrats who believe that about Donald Trump and his voters.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you saying.
We go back to this guy. Yeah, we can show a good Steven Crowder clip, though. We can show a good Steven Crowder clip to make up for it.
I'm struggling to accept this as reality. That being said, you heard the man, Nick Fuentes. He loves musicals from one white supremacist to a Jewish man. Send it to him. It may bring peace on earth.
I feel like Nick and Ben could really bond over loving musicals and getting bullied in high school.
This week marks the second show in June, which is officially Louder with Crowders, Cultural Appropriation Month, where we take you across the globe to experience and appreciate all the great cultures this world has to offer. This week, the mystical, age-old culture of China. Glad to be with you. You're a lawless, godless people, China.
Okay.
That people believe that, absolutely.
That's very different between the right and the left, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know, Stephen. It feels like it's so polarized right now. It's even hard to find common ground on anything. You know, like, I was just thinking about the sign, and it's that the left is violent.
Yes.
Then when I sit down, it's...
No, I remember the first time I saw Steven Crowder would have been... He was on stage with Milo. Is it this? Yeah. What, is this the one with Triggly Puff? This is that thing, I think, right? This is that... Yeah, I would have watched this when this happened.
Thank you.
It's with the one with Triggly Puff. They called it, right? This one. Thank you for the membership.
Let's hear it
But
for
even
UMass
back when I was watching this, it was like, I think Steven Crowder was probably my least favorite one here. Yeah, because I was watching for Milo, really. And Christina Hoff Summers I used to like as well. Crowder sucked.
Republicans putting this on. Come on, let them know you love him. Let's hear it for Milo. Let him know you love him. Let's hear it for Miss Summers. Let her know you love her. Time to listen up, you silly liberal fruitcakes. I came out here, I wanted to tell some jokes. Let's do some reality checks here. Do you have any idea, sir, how pathetic it must be to be you? These people wanted to come out and have a good time, hear a few jokes, some thoughtful discussion, but your head pops off the pillow in the morning with, oh, how can I be a professional victim today? Let me go in.
Yeah, I love Milo when he was calling that one woman from Ghostbusters a gorilla on Twitter.
And screw with their act just because, oh my God, your parents didn't tell you that your opinion wasn't worth that much. Look, they're confused. They're confused. You know why? Because I'm not your gender studies professor who has to cater to your trigger warning, microaggression, safe space bullshit.
Dude, crowd is so cringe.
I didn't want to do this. I wanted to come out and tell a few jokes. You created this monster. We have to go. 10 more minutes of this. Let this reverberate. Let it be a life lesson. This monster right here that you're so afraid of, the face you see in your nightmares was...
Crowder, literally, I literally never liked Crowder. Bro, that's rough. That's rough. I don't think I can watch that. In fact, let's finish it.
Created by social justice warrior assholes like you. And now you have this wonderful. That's what happens.
Oh, dude. Oh.
We okay? We good? Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Darling, you can call me what you like.
Oh, okay, there we go. Crying out loud, listen. Nobody here wants to hear your opinion that much. And here's what's so crazy.
Yeah,
you couldn't wait 5
okay.
minutes. Unlike leftists, we have an open panel and a Q&A session because we want an open idea. Oh, I'm a racist. There you go. That's a new one. Where'd you learn that one in Social Human Studies 101? Right next to the giant, I don't know, wild boar I couldn't see who said there's no such thing as fat chicks. Guess what? If you think there aren't, you are one, okay? Did he just make a fat joke? Yeah, I did. And no, it's okay, because I got some here, so screw you. I have a pass and a fat pass today. We wanted to...
And you know, 10 years later, that's truer than ever. That's one thing you can say about Steven Crowder. It's 10 years later, that's all truer than ever.
Come out here and tell a few jokes. We wanted to have a thoughtful discussion. We want an open conversation of ideas. You guys can't be grown adults enough to literally wait 10 minutes to the point where we open the floor. And unlike leftists, guess what? We don't try and ban you when your speakers come to school. We don't show up and protest and call them, oh, shut up, you just got owned and now you're trying to come back 5 minutes later. It's like George... The jerk store called. They're running out of you, George Costanza, you androgynous little amoeba.
Yeah, I can't watch any more of this, man.
I don't know.
Back to the modern Crowder.
It's so polarized right now. It's even hard to find common ground on anything. You know, like, I was just thinking about this.
It's kind of crazy that the funniest thing he did was abuse his pregnant wife. Very true.
And it's that the left is violent.
Yes.
Then when I sit down, it's actually the left is politically violent. And so it's kind of it's a modifier, right? We're modifying our conversation a little bit. And so,
No, what I'm doing is matching the intensity and the rhetoric of the left. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have said the right is violent. The political right is violent. And I'm doing what they are unwilling to do, which is sit down and have a conversation. I don't believe it's nuanced. I believe there's black and white, pretty clear-cut good and evil in this one. I believe there's pretty black and white, clear-cut who's responsible for the political violence. But I will discuss it with anybody. So did Charlie Kirk. And they kill us anyway. So I'm matching their rhetoric that I can fit on a sign.
The shameless exploitation of Charlie Kirk's death is just so crazy, man.
Is not willing to do and having a conversation. But I don't know where we go from if we have these conversations and short of a brigade coming in, we get assassinated. The left doesn't fear that.
I would disagree, though. I think the left does have their own fears about it. Maybe it's not exactly the same, but I think there's a lot of fear out there. It's just not. It's just different.
The leftist speakers on this campus don't need the same kind of security. They don't.
I'll take note of that. I mean, I've been a student here for 2 years, and I hadn't even paid that much attention. I don't go to a whole lot of events, but I'll take note of that and see what I notice. So.
Well, let me ask you this. Assuming that I'm not lying to you, right, about these polls, and this is one thing, we always, every show that I do, I'm largely a comedian, by the way. I'm an unwilling participant in this. I want to be telling dick jokes in a comedy club.
I do stand-up comedy, too, actually.
Oh, good, okay. Do you do some around here?
I do.
You might know my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond. He does a lot of stand-up in Dallas right now. He has a show coming up.
Cool.
Well, let me know. Maybe I'll be able to look it up, and I can't come out and see a show unless I come out with security, but I'd like to see your material.
Guys, I was thinking about this last night. I had to do this more often, but guys, huge thing, okay? If you're enjoying this content, okay, epic debate politics content, Steven Crowder changed my mind. All my politics shit gets uploaded on my second channel. So make sure you're subscribed to the second channel, okay? Because it all goes there. It doesn't go on the main channel. So you might not see a segment if you're watching videos. Make sure you guys subscribe over there. We're very close to 1,000. Over on the second channel, we're at like 860. So we're trying to push over to monetization over on Naga Kuihman. Over on Naga Kuihman.
That's actually even another example. a man who works on my show, a man named Josh Firestein. He was a booker for a comedy, a franchise of comedy clubs. When I performed at the Spokane Comedy Club, it was the first time they ever needed metal detectors and security. He'd been a booker there for many, many years. You had actual registered communists do comedy there. He was shocked and he was ready to hate me. He works for me now because he saw why it was necessary. When you perform on stage,
I haven't read the age price.
Do you need metal detectors? Do you need armed security? I have since I was 19 years old doing comedy in clubs. And I don't think I've said anything that necessitates that.
Oh, George was letting me know. I have class at 2.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
so how do we fix this then?
Oh, I mean, I think we need to have more civil discourse. I think.
Can't do that. We get shot.
Well, we can. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, it's sort of like a right-wing genocide, really, when you think about it. Like, they're just getting killed left and right.
With a brigade.
So pessimistic, but Stephen, come on, we have to change our attitudes about it. We can't constantly fixate on the negative stuff. I know it's important and it matters, but we can do it.
Dude, she's therapizing him now. Stephen Crowder's getting therapized at his Change My Mind event. He's like being being hysterical. He's like having a neurotic meltdown, and this woman's like shifting into, parent role.
I can do it with $250,000 of security. Most people don't have that.
Most people don't have that. And you talk about like fear.
Dude, remember when Stephen Crowder used to wear the fucking Nathan Drake gun holster harness? Do you remember that shit?
Your life. Yeah. I am a female pastor in Deep East, Texas. So on Sunday morning, I wait for that time when someone doesn't like what I said from the pulpit and comes up to me. So I too live with a fear, but it's different for me. And,
do you have metal detectors and armed security?
We can't afford that at my church. We have an old person that sits at the front and says hi and tries to intervene in a way that would be appropriate of a Christian. We've thought about bringing security to the church. We talked about it.
We literally can't have these discussions on our side unless we have it.
We have security.
It's a necessity.
Yeah. And I think that's really unfortunate that it's gotten so bad. The state of our country is so bad that we can't even talk to each other without one side or the other having to provide ridiculous amounts of safety and security that maybe aren't even guaranteed.
No, yeah, it's true. And I agree with you. It is terrible that we've gotten to this point.
Yeah.
It is terrible that it's exclusively incumbent upon one side to have these types of measures in place. Let me ask you this. Because, again, I think that we both abhor political violence. Do you think that maybe when one side is being hunted, let's make no mistake, Charlie Kirk was
hunted.
When people showed up to my house to try and kill me.
Which mean hunted, dude? How was he hunted? He was not hunted. Someone did not go and track him down. He had a speaking event in the town. Literally, in the texts, the guy says, "Oh, I had an opportunity. He came to town. I thought I'd take it." That's what the guy says. He wasn't hunted. Hunted is not. It's not accurate for that.
I was being hunted, right? Any conservative here is one viral tweet, one effective video away from being hunted.
Yeah.
Do we think that when that happens, and we peacefully mourn the loss of one of our peaceful leaders, and we are still approached with violence at memorials and at vigils with desecration, do you think that maybe the both sidesing it, saying it comes from both sides, is actually more harmful than productive? Because it lets the side that's responsible for it off the hook, the clear aggressor.
Do I think it's more harmful to say that it's both sides?
Do you think it would be more helpful to call the left out and say, hey, you guys have been saying fascist, you guys have been saying Nazi, you guys have been saying genocide, sexist, and people believe it, and we're seeing political violence now that we both hate. Do you think that calling them out aggressively, rhetorically, might be more productive than saying, well, I guess it happens on both sides right now?
No, I don't, because it kind of reminds me of therapy, where it's not necessarily helpful to point the finger in ways that are counterproductive. Not that I'm not opposed to holding people accountable, because that's a different thing.
No, I understand.
So,
maybe let me ask you then this way, where you say pointing fingers. What is the reason that we record crime statistics?
I don't know.
Would you agree with the fundamental premise that its primary purpose is risk assessment in determining who's most likely to be victimized. For example,
Steven Crowder is actually always 2 seconds away from hitting a woman. Any conversation with Steven Crowder and a woman is like 2 seconds away from becoming violent at any given point.
Transgender or gay sex workers are more likely to be targets of violence than heterosexual sex workers, right? Those studies have come out, and by the way, those seem to be true. So we go, okay, these people are more at risk. The reason for crime statistics is to assess where the risk exists. Otherwise, it serves no purpose.
Okay.
Will we agree with that?
Fair.
Okay.
Sure, I'll trust your information on this.
Well, it's not information. It's just the reason. This is the why. Why else would we have crime statistics? Why would we record them? There's no reason. Just, okay, crime was committed. There's nothing we can do about it now.
Well, just have a history, I mean, is another potential reason, but sure.
What's the value in a history?
But history's so important, Stephen. Come on.
In what?
History matters. Oh my gosh.
But history's important in what?
In everything, right? History repeats itself, but I think it holds to your point that history matters because you're saying we've seen these
you don't want to repeat
violence events.
Yeah,
and we don't
want to repeat negative history.
Right,
so we agree. That's the reason for crime statistics. So if we look at those statistics and we look at the polls and we see an overwhelming number of those on the left at a ratio of 6 to 1 support violence compared to those on the right, and we see people being murdered.
That's not crime statistics. Why is he saying it's crime statistics? That's not crime statistics. That's a fucking survey. Dude, it literally... Lefties might say it's they can see more... They're more easy to see or more ready to admit that it can be justified sometimes. But they don't carry it out anywhere near as much. It's just not true. Yeah, exactly. Like I said this before. Like, is it just saying that lefties liberals and shit can entertain hypotheticals and conservatives can't? Because everyone thinks that political violence is justified at some point. You know, literally, like the examples, obviously, at some point during Hitler's takeover of Germany, violence would have been justified. I mean, many points in American history, violence has been justified. Taking up arms is baked into the Constitution that you can have a well-regulated militia to resist government. It's like a core part of the country. Like the idea that some people are saying, no, political violence is never justified. Okay, you're not really American then. Like, that's kind of the reality. But when you actually look at who does it, who carries it out, it's broadly right-wingers, overwhelmingly. Way more lethality. When left-wingers do quote-unquote violence, it's usually property damage. The shit that lefties do usually comes from a riot. When right-wingers do shit, it's like veteran picked up a gun and hunted down a bunch of fucking senators, you know. Or goes to a mosque and opens fire.
In cold blood. If you are conservative, right-leaning in this country, and a public speaker, you are more at risk. How is that pointing the finger? It's identifying the problem and not repeating history, no?
Yes. Well, with data, sure. And data speaks differently than I think sometimes people do.
Sure.
You know, and so I think how data is presented matters a lot.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I really have on that particular thought. Were you wanting?
Well, I think actually, going to that point, the data that's presented, for example, right now in the wake of the assassination, and by the way, not just that, we haven't gone more than 3 days with a serious liberal attack, but a serious leftist attack, meaning in the ideology of the left. You have it right here, ICE, that happened, ICE facility. You had another one in, I believe, is it Alvarado or Alvarado? I don't know the right way to pronounce it. People were shot there. There was a bomb threat. The ABC affiliate. Okay, all right. It's like Houston, and then in New York they go Houston. I'm like, I don't know the rules. So forgive me. And then I have French-Canadian mom, so I mispronounce things because she taught me English. Nice. And then we look at the ABC affiliate, Jimmy Kimmel. We haven't gone more than 3 days. That's an acceleration right now. And the problem is, amidst that, the left is saying, actually, there's more political violence coming from the right. And that's the rhetoric we've been hearing, and it's dishonest. In other words, data is being presented to the public deliberately, dishonestly, to victim blame. And that's something that we face too, where if you back people into a corner who are avoiding conflict, who are not violent, there could end up being right-wing violence. And when that happens, it's very ugly, it's very effective, it's very swift. And the only way we avoid that is for the left to take accountability of it and for them to tone down the temperature. And by that I mean, right now, and this is where I show you, I think we both agree on this. So the two sources in the data, I don't care if you see my password,
all the principles on speech have just been completely abandoned.
Prosecution project, that's what's cited in The Economist and NPR and Cato. These are the ones where they say, hey, right-wing violence is more prevalent. I'm sure you've heard that. Let me show you what they don't include in the data, because like you said, people speak differently than data. Remember this in Portland?
Dude, like, let me debunk this Cato Institute data with some videos of people saying mean things. Dude. How does that work, Stephen? How does that work, Stephen? Explain that to me. This was a shooting. Oh, I thought it was about speech because he said people speak differently than data. But I guess it's just a video of black people shooting each other or something.
When was this?
Summer of Love, George Floyd riots. Aaron Danielson, shot point blank dead because he was.
Oh my god! It's that one murder in BLM. Oh my god, dude.
Trump voter, and the man Reinhold, it was Michael Reinhold who shot him, told the cops, "I got the Trump supporter, dead." We agree that's political violence?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Not a single one of these places cites it. It doesn't exist in their database.
The ones here in your black folder, but not here in this.
No, in there.
It doesn't exist in a database.
It's the same thing. The black folder is just those.
Okay.
Yeah. The point is they come from two places. TPP, the Prosecution Project, or a Cato study, which is reflected by the CSIS as well, where Cato tried to say there's 6 times the amount of domestic terrorism deaths. TPP said right-wing general violence. By the way, all of them agree that in the last year, since Donald Trump has been elected, even now they agree 2 to 3 times more leftist violence than right-wing violence. But that was never included.
Yeah, because right-wingers aren't protesting, retard.
That's not included as left-wing political violence. You know what else isn't? All the riots, the billions in damages.
No, that explicitly is included. That like actually is included. They do include, like I was looking at the fucking shit earlier. They do include like riots and shit. That's part of how they evaluate the left-wing violence. It's still less. I mean, I don't know if it's that specific Cato Institute study, but that is when people do like breakdowns of what the violence is. They do typically talk about rioting violence. It's just like it's not as lethal. It's nowhere near as lethal. Right-wingers do like the most lethal targeted violence. Yeah, but left-wingers will gather for protests, and those protests will go on past dark, and when stuff goes on past dark, people start doing property damage and getting rowdy and clashing with police, and yes, all that stuff happens. That all happens, of course. But that's not picking up a rifle and hunting down senators, or attempting to violently overthrow the Capitol with a bunch of cable ties and pipe bombs and guns ready. You know?
During the George Floyd riots, the thousands of officers assaulted, the thousands of casualties, that's not included. You know what else is included? Darrell Brooks in Waukesha, Wisconsin, who ran people over in the parade out of an exclusive defund the police, Black Lives Matter, anti-white, black supremacist ideology. That's why he killed them. That's not included. I could go through example after example where you would just as clearly agree that is political violence. I'm not trying to pick a gray one. It exists nowhere. So why do you think that wouldn't be included in the data as left-wing political violence? Because that's the number cited by the left right now to justify it.
Okay, you can literally sit here and go, oh well, I found one that wasn't included in this study. Okay, we'll break down the reasoning why it wasn't included, and then come up with where's your counter study? Where's your counter information? This is like cherry picking. It's like hardcore cherry picking. You have to come up with some kind of actual significant debunking analysis like that actually goes through how the methodology was flawed. Because exactly, yeah, I could totally see situations where some of these aren't included because it's deemed like the person's got like severe schizophrenia or something, and the political motive isn't like coherent in any way, and so it's like, okay, well, it seems like you're just fucking crazy. Like there can be situations like that, and yeah, there might not be political violence. That's oftentimes like a different issue.
I think we have so much data that it's hard to even, especially in today's, well, I don't know, that's weird because you're saying in the police recorded call they said
he spoke to the police before they shot him.
So it's on a 911 call that
so this is on
the Trumper.
Yeah, he was talking to the police. So there's
police cam video.
This is security camera video, and then I believe there's also police camera video and sworn testimony from the police. But he identified as 100% Antifa.
Yeah.
You can look at his social media. He went out there. There are even, I believe, interviews with this man before this was committed where he was talking about enacting political violence.
Yeah.
Did it, clear as day. Are you a Trump supporter? Yes, we've got a Trump supporter. Bang, bang, dead. All the studies from left-wing sources don't include that. Is that bothersome?
Yeah, I do think it is bothersome because
isn't Cato conservative? Am I crazy? Isn't Cato a conservative think tank?
To have the facts of the situations, any situation, regardless of where it comes from. And you know, you talked about something you said earlier just reminded me of like the media is not portraying things accurately, and
right.
That's adding fuel to.
It's Cato is like the most well-known conservative think tank, or one of them anyway. Libertarian, well, still right-leaning. It's not left-leaning. That's the point. Either way.
The fire.
Yeah.
It's adding so much fuel to the fire.
On that, we agree. And can I ask you, and this is, by the way, there's no wrong answer. This is just an opinion. Why do you think that wasn't included? Why do you think the examples that I gave you, none of them were included? But any example of white on black violence, even if it was a Democrat voter, was listed as right-wing. Any attack on a government building, even if it was Antifa, was listed as right-wing. Why do you think something that clear
was not included?
Would it surprise you if the authoritative source that's being cited, the prosecution project, the author of it, was actually arrested himself on January 20th protesting Donald Trump?
What difference does that make? Talk about the methodology of the study, you fucking retard. Like, now, let's just attacking the source. So we start with cherry picking, then we attack the source. It's just like the most transparent shit in the world. Like, how does this guy live with himself, truly? I mean, he probably struggles anyway because he's denying his homosexual nature to pretend to be a straight man for the entertainment of a bunch of conservatives. But it's just shameful.
Committing crimes, and that entire day was also omitted?
Probably not.
A member of Antifa who said we are an organized group and we confront fascists. That's the source that gets disseminated across. It seems that there might be a bias there. And these sources are being used to victim blame those on the right now. Where do you think those on the right go? Where we go, hold on a second, we're actually sitting down and having conversations and we've been attacked and in some cases killed.
Right.
And then you came to the memorials and the vigils and you celebrated it. A majority of people on the left, not all, not yourself, but too many celebrated it.
I don't celebrate it in that way.
But many did, and we both know that we saw it.
I know you're right,
and then you came and blamed us and said we need to tone it down, and told us that we're more violent.
And then you came and blamed us. Dude, how is she? She's not. Dude, he's like literally fighting ghosts
with clearly dishonest stats.
Yeah.
That's why I say that both sidesing it doesn't help, because you're backing people into a corner, not you, the left, with lies. At a certain point, they're going to push back. And I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah. So what do you think the answer is then?
I'll tell you what I think.
You better stop saying that conservatives are more violent, otherwise we're going to do something. Oh, okay. Wow.
It's twofold. One, the leadership of the left and the majority of the left. I think that the majority of people who identify as liberal, the reason you get those numbers 62 to 65, depending on the day, whether it's Rutgers or whether it's YouGov, I think they support political violence to varying degrees, because they actually believe that those on the right are fascist, are Nazis, are genocidists, are racist, are homophobic, are sexist.
Oh, that's true.
Because every single member of the Democratic leadership has said so. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Walz, Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, every single one has made that comparison. I think it's incumbent upon the left to take accountability, say, look, we have gone too far here. This needs to be toned down. Of course, Donald Trump and his voters are not fascists who won't relinquish power.
Wait, oh my god, no, wait, Wilhelm, can you, if you're in Discord, can you send this to me? The video important he showed is in the data. You have to expand the data to find it, though. Did Crowder not expand the data? Dude.
Because he can't deal with fascists at a ballot box. And then I think we also need to, states need to take this upon them, need to change their soft on crime policy. The no cash bail, the IOU policy, where you can simply say, I'll be back in court. Before Charlie Kirk, right, the story in the news was Zarutska, the Ukrainian refugee who was stabbed on that subway in North Carolina by a black man, to Carlos Brown Jr. He was let out 14 times. And the last time he was let out by a left judge in the name of social justice, he was deemed unfit to stand trial, but they let him go back out into society.
So how do I find this? Cato Institute left versus right violence. How do I show 200? So show more. How do you spell this guy's fucking surname again? Rhino. So Rhino, Michael F. Shooting. Yeah. Killings of Aaron Danielson and Michael Rhino. Aaron Danielson was killed by a far-left activist. The suspected killer, Michael Rhino, was shot and killed by a federal fugitive task force near Washington, Lacey, Washington. So that is in there. That is right there. 100%. That is just there. And he's just straight up fucking lying. Literally just, again, lying to people's faces and these fucking change my mind events. Saying a killing isn't listed there when it absolutely is. And then saying, well, obviously the whole thing's flawed then. What a disgusting fuck. But what do you expect? His whole life is a lie. He's married to a woman is a lie. Has kids is a lie. Pretends to be conservative is a lie. And you think he's not going to lie about the data too? This guy just needs to retire and go, I don't know, man. Find a bear to settle down with.
Because he said he'd be back. Said he killed an innocent woman. You know why? Because, hey, justice is racist. I guess I don't know when it becomes racist, if it's at arrest number 11 or 14 or 6. But that needs to change. Those two things, accountability, change in rhetoric, ownership from the left, which will change the makeup of today's left, make us safer, and needs to change soft on crime policy. And I also advocate that conservatives take an approach of ruthless, lawful self-defense, because we've afforded grace where it is not warranted. What I mean by that is people who attack me and my family, and many of my production members who've been attacked, violently assaulted, have taken the high road for a very long time, and that's why these people feel so bold to come to our memorials and still commit attacks. They need to know they can't do that. I want the left to be able to get up and have these conversations with no security, as they often do. And I don't want anyone on the right to go and violently disrupt it. The left needs to be afraid to come into our groups and commit acts of violence, because we watched entire cities burn down. We watched our own die, and then we watched it celebrated. And unless the left does this and takes this approach,
dude, it's just like the lamest. Like, it's just like victim mindset. Just like lie about what's happened and then sit there and cry and play victim the whole time. How do people not see this is just like totally embarrassing?
That's a genuine concern of mine. People are concerned about radicalizing, right? They talk about radicalization with echo chambers online. And there's nothing more radicalizing than an assassination and a party afterwards.
Yes, no, I agree with you.
That's why I'm sitting down doing this. And to let people know that we're not afraid to have these conversations. Now, of course, you know, we have bulletproof glass and a flak jacket, and it's sad that it's here.
Right.
But it's necessary. That's what I think.
Okay.
Would you disagree with any of those approaches? Changing the rhetoric, taking accountability, and stopping the soft on crime revolving door criminality policy?
This is hard, Stephen, because I just feel like we don't have enough time to even really dive deep into each one.
Well, those are two proposals.
Issues. I know. But I just need more time to process and really consider and to understand what you mean exactly with each thing, because I don't want to.
No cashless bail.
No cashless bail.
Yeah, so you have to post bail.
Let's start with that.
Okay, you have to post bail.
You have to post bail.
You commit a violent crime, you have to post bail. You're in jail. You're not allowed out.
Okay, so no cashless bail, meaning you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to get out without paying any bail.
Without paying any bail, and like
three-strike policy as well.
Three-strike policy.
3 serious felonies, violent crimes.
Wait, hold on, bail though. Bail. Yeah. So you're saying if you can't make bail, you can't get out.
Yep. You have to wait for your trial.
No matter what the level of the crime is.
No, if it's a serious felony.
Only if it's a serious felony.
Let's even start with violent crimes.
Like
felonies, violent
rape,
crimes.
Something like that.
Assault, armed robbery.
Okay.
Burglary.
Okay, this is becoming unbearable. I've got to be real. This is now becoming unbearable.